everyone, and a very good afternoon. Who are present today as participant and have joined the session. Thank you, and to everyone who is seeing us on Facebook and YouTube. I begin with the name of Allah, the All Merciful. Pakistan High Commission and Trade Commission in South Africa. Welcome everyone to this webinar on investment potential and opportunities in Balochistan, organized in collaboration with Balochistan Board of Investment and Trade. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Humaira Israr, Commercial Secretary of Pakistan to Southern Africa, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Thank you for joining us today. We have with us today Mr. Adnan Javed Chaudhary, High Commissioner Active of Pakistan in South Africa. We have uh, Federal Minister Lesotho, Honorable Chief Tisele Meseria Ben. He is the Federal Minister for Communication, Science and Technology of Lesotho. We have Ms. Tefelo Majuro, Senior Manager at Gauteng Road Development Agency. We have Prince Ahmad Ali, Liaison Assistant on IT to Chief Minister Balochistan. We have Serving Commercial Counselor of Mozambique to South Africa, Sergio Carlos Macamo. We have MD of NBDOA, Mr. Salim Sher Mohammed, and we also have CEO of ISSAR, Mr. Iqbal Mir Sharma. Thank you so much. To begin with the proceedings of the webinar formally, I would request Adnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner of Pakistan, South Africa, to open the session with his official welcome remarks. Thank you. Please, Adnan Javed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Humaira. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the High Commission and Government of Pakistan, I extend my gratitude to the participants on this virtual session and to those who have joined us online to learn about the investment potentials and explore the business opportunities in the largest and resource-rich province of Balochistan in Pakistan. I am grateful to the Honorable Chief Guest, Excellency Thesele Masrbane, Minister for Communications, Science and Technology, Lesotho, Prince Ahmadzai, Liaison Assistant to Chief Minister Balochistan, and other distinguished guests, Mr. Carlos, Ms. Majoro, Mr. Mir Sharma, Mr. Salim, for joining us today and giving us the opportunity to share with them the enormous potential and opportunities that are least explored, which resource-rich Balochistan offers to foreign investors. Balochistan covers 44% of the total land mass, shares a 2,200-kilometer international borders and around 800-kilometer coastal line, with natural deep sea port of Gwadar. The province is culturally, religiously, and ethnically immensely diverse, and for that reason, it is termed as the cultural hub of Pakistan. Basically, Balochistan's economy is agrarian and development-driven. There are already around 30 international foreign-owned companies working in province. Balochistan is the nucleus of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and it is the flagship project of China's Belt and Road Initiative. The province is rich in mineral resources, hydrocarbon, and many untapped natural reserves. Pakistan is an attractive destination in the region for foreign investors with a lot of investment opportunities in diverse fields of trade and industry. Since Pakistan follows liberal investment regime and facilitating being its foremost cornerstones for investors' confidence and conducive environments to attract local and foreign investment. Therefore, Pakistan is becoming a preferred destination for foreign investment in South Asia, owing to its geostrategic location, population and workforce, economic outlook, investment-friendly policies, and special economic zone with special tax relief, and last but not the least, in many cases, 100% foreign equities is also allowed in addition to remittance of the capital, dividends, and profits. Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is home to the world's sixth largest population with a growing middle class. There are around 17 million middle class households with 102 million individuals as of 2018. Pakistan also has about 60% of its population less than 30 years age group. This represents an enormous human and knowledge capital, and it would not be out of context to share that Pakistan's IT exports have increased 70% during the last 3 years. Pakistan has consistently been making efforts to improve business environment in the country. Since 2016, around 300 reforms have been implemented to improve the business climate in the country. Resultantly, Pakistan improved 39th position in ease of doing business ranking in the last 2 years and was recognized as the top reformer in South Asia and sixth reformer in the world. The current government is also undertaking enormous reforms regarding regulatory framework to enhance the ease of doing business. Today's session would strive to explore the investment opportunities and potential of Balochistan. More information about the investment opportunities, special economic zone, and incentive would be shared by Mr. Zarkoon, CEO of the Board of Investment and Trade of Balochistan. Now, I will request Honorable Chief Guest Excellency Thesele Masarbane, Minister for Communication, Science and Technology, to share his thoughts on today's event. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good day. Salam alaikum. I wish to pay my respects to His Majesty King Letsie III, the Right Honorable the Prime Minister, Dr. Mweketsi Majoro. I see that there's a prince and the sister to my Prime Minister is also on board from South Africa. Your Excellency, High Commissioner, colleagues, friends. We are a 2 million population, and there's a gender split is 51 female and 49 male, according to our latest census data in the country. The literacy rate in Lesotho, it's just too high. I cannot put it at any percentage, but it's high. It satisfies everybody. We are a country that is landlocked by our country and our friends and our only neighbors, which is the Republic of South Africa. There are certain aspects that put Lesotho as one of the unique countries in SADC, even in Africa, even across the world. It is our landscape. It gives us 5,000 to 3,000 above sea level, where during these challenges of climate change, we still afford to have very good and very profound air, oxygen. We have water. We give South Africa water. We're selling water to South Africa, but we also enjoy having quality water, which the princess can have and blast his best, or give and export that product to other countries. So there are opportunities on investing in Lesotho. We also have a very huge scale of diamond, and we are still looking at how best we can review our diamond industry, but we have that diamond industry. We also have a huge challenges after COVID-19 because of the orders. We used to enjoy the textile industry in Lesotho, where at least around 40,000 people were employed. But COVID-19 has brought challenges to our textile industry because lack of orders. because of COVID-19. But let me come to our culture. Our culture is our pride. Basotho are warm and peaceful with open hearts. We welcome everybody in our territory. We already have some Pakistani nationalities in this. We are trading in motor vehicle. We've got the Chinese community. We have the South Africans, which is our brothers. We have the American investment. So we are a country that has a legacy of our founder, Moshoeshoe the First, who taught us care and love. We should not name yourself as a nationality. We should take you as a brother and a sister to us. So that's what we are proud of. But the government of Lesotho has a national strategic development plan. And I'll just put on some key issues that appear in the national strategic plan to focus on creating jobs for women and youth, infrastructure development, and construction, manufacturing, technology, agriculture, hospitality, education, and industrialization. But my dear friends, we compete. Competition it's allowed in Lesotho with any other industry, but we need to invite investors from Pakistan to play a role. I, as a Minister of Communication, Science and Technology, as you know, it cuts across every sector. It can be tourism, it can be construction. There have to be internet these days. We're talking about digitalization. You're talking about education. We need to give support to our education sector by giving the backbone where there's fiber connectivity, internet, where there's we need to promote e-education. But let me come to the point. I understand that Pakistan is a well-advanced country where they also manufacture some of the infrastructure that is needed for us to have e-education, for instance, computers. But we would like also to trade with you by manufacturing them in Lesotho to give an opportunity so that we can get jobs out of that. Yes, South Africa is already challenged in the market. During COVID-19, I was discussing with one of the most credible factories in South Africa to say we also need to teach our children with iPads or to be affordable to use computers or whatever, but they are stuck because of the orders that they are challenged with that. So we are saying with the relationship that we want to forge between Pakistan or we want to forge with Pakistan and Lesotho, in my area, I need to support education. I need to support health, but also we need also to talk about issues of education. Education it's a priority by getting scholarships. Already there's a people-to-people diplomacy that is taking place between us, like we're talking now, where we need scholarships, where we can send our young Basotho to Pakistan in all areas, especially on the health sector. We like to have that, especially on the technology side, even on the financial side, because you can't run an economy where you don't have economists. When you don't have young people to learn how to push an LDC country, as you know that Lesotho is still the least developed country, and we are open for any trade or any collaboration at any level. We are just jealous about our wives or our girls. Don't marry our girls because we have our own culture. We are Christianity. Our Christianity is so strong in Lesotho. So, but we are part of the globalization that is so that is given. Anybody can be, but we are proud. The last point that I would like to emphasize again is that we have a very challenged banking sector, where we want also to find how best our people can be able to afford financial assistance, because Basotho, we do have very virgin soil where we compete with our potato. We've got very good good culture tissue potato. Our potato is clean because of our water. Our potato is clean because of our soil, but to access finance to develop those projects into a multi-million project of our potato, to turn them into Zimba chips, to turn them into all kinds, so that we are able to sell to the world. For instance, even our beer challenges most of the beers when they go to, because of the quality of water, but there is a bottleneck, access to finance. So if maybe that area also you can look at is, Your Excellency, to say, yes, fine, we are able to come to our only bank that we have, which is Post Bank, that it can be, we can trade from Pakistan, giving Post Bank a link to trade between Pakistan and Lesotho and other areas around the world. We are on phase 2. We are engaging into, it's phase 2 because phase 1 on e-education, on e-governance, was mainly to put up the infrastructure. Now we are going to phase 2, where we've got a loan from the African Development Bank that is going to be able to give us connectivity, because our country is so mountainous, and it is very hard to find a proper 100% connectivity. But we have got a loan, and we are putting around 45 BTSs. We're left with about 92 kilometers to have a ring around Lesotho, where we need to put our fiber cable so that we can have internet across the country. But the point that I'm trying to pursue there is that our financial stability, our financial issues, infrastructure, it is mostly South African banks, which is Nedbank, Standard Bank, and FNB. And we have only one bank that is competing, which is a local bank that has 100% shareholding by the government, which is the only bank that we have selected to have an e-payment switch, so that we can be able to trade. But it's too expensive for our economy to put the e-payment switch. So we can invite investors to come and assist us. We have an international airport, Mshoshowane International Airport. It's a big opportunity for countries like Pakistan, South Africa, and any other country that is huge in its economy, to invest in helping us to upgrade our Mshoshowane International Airport, where we can be able then have auctions of diamond in the country, instead of taking our diamonds to Antwerp, then India to cutting, then maybe to Pakistan to go and cut and polish. But we want to have a cut and polish diamond center in Lesotho. So there is vast of opportunities that we can trade. Lastly, I think we have the best fish. As you know that in the dams, the temperature gives us one of the most precious food, which is the hake, and the fish that comes from the Lesotho Islands Water Project. It's excellent. It is there in the market. we would like also to say that that is another opportunity for you. Pakistanis, I know that you people, you like to eat fish. We are meat eaters, but we can be able to attract some investment from Pakistan. It's not only from our side where we invite investors to come. We also like to give opportunity to our construction. We have got about 5 or big construction companies in Lesotho, where we like also to exchange, to be invited to have business to business exchange, where our people in Lesotho can come and trade at formal sectors, even at any level of sectors between Lesotho and Pakistanis. Thank you for listening, because we have been told that we don't have to, so that we can come to the discussion. I'll be more clearer when I get some few questions. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Chief Desile Maseria Ben. Very kind words for us, and no doubt Pakistan and Lesotho, they have good diplomatic relations and also trade links. Pakistan mainly exports tractors and parts of vehicle to Lesotho. It's good to hear your kind words, and I'm sure the Pakistani community who have now joined us and are listening to us, and to you who listen to you, definitely benefited from your words. Now I would request our keynote speaker from Balochistan, Prince Ahmad Ali Ahmad Said, for his remarks on the events, please.
I would like over here, especially the Trade Commission of Pakistan and Mr. Farman Zarkoon, CEO for Balochistan Board of Investment, and all the dignitaries who have taken part in this virtual session. Balochistan is a vast province of Pakistan, and as the High Commission indicated well, that the One Road and One Belt initiative by the China, and it's indeed a flagship project of Gwadar being the deep sea port. And as of the elections 2018, a new party emerged from Balochistan Awami Party, under the dynamic leadership of the Chief Minister, Jam Kamal Khan. And Mr. Jam Kamal Khan have opened the doors for the investment, and under the dynamic leadership and the vision that he carries. And we have bought this platform of BBOI, Balochistan Board of Investment and Trade. This platform opens up the doorways, and it's a one-window operation. And this forum has 2 basic agendas. One is that investment promotion, and investors should get maximum facilitation from BOI. If you see the geography of Balochistan, we are split into 2 sides. One is the northern areas and one is the southern areas. If you see the northern areas, where we go towards the Chagi areas, where we have a lot of mineral resource areas, like we have copper, gold, we have zinc, and also we have rare earth metals. And these are very unique, which can be explored definitely by the South African areas. And the mineral and natural resource potential of Balochistan is quite immense. If we shift our attention towards the southern areas, where the whole area is filled with horticultures, where you have apple farming, you have cotton over there, and also a great potential lies in the livestock. And these areas can also be tapped. And as we belong to, the Chief Minister himself belonged to the area of Lasbela. So the main port city of Lasbela, Sonmiani, it was a very old Somniani port before the partition of Pakistan, even more than 200 years ago, it existed. And from this particular area, we have a lot of shrimps, and fisheries is also a very potential area that can be tapped. And as the minister well said, that we really like fish, and because there's now a lot of awareness of having omega-3 and omega-6 in our diets. So this area can also be tapped. And dates. Dates are also very important. That our entire district of Lasbela Makran division is filled with dates. And in 1990s, end of 1990s, we exported about 60,000 tons of dates. And now dates is playing a very important major role, like the whole Panchguru district. We have a lot of potential for dates as well. And now, in the last 2 years, there's an emerging market arising from Balochistan, especially from Lasbela, are our cotton farms, like cotton and organic cotton. So this is also an area which can be looked upon. And as was well mentioned by His Excellency, the High Commission, that Balochistan has a coastal line of 800 kilometers and more, approximately 800 kilometers. So we have a very beautiful seashores, like we have white sand beaches, Kun Malir. We have very scenic areas, Sapat Beach. We have mud volcanoes. We have areas which are not being tapped, and that can open a new doorway for tourism as well. So at the end, from my side, from the liaison assistant from Balochistan, I welcome all the investors who are interested to find their businesses, to explore various avenues in Balochistan. And I'd like to thank again the CEO for Balochistan Board of Investment, Mr. Farman Zarkoon, for organizing such a wonderful event so that we can all interact with each other and find the possibilities and tap these potentialities that lies ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prince Ahmad Ali Ahmadzai, for your very concise remarks on the investment and potential, investment opportunities and potential in the province of Balochistan. Balochistan indeed is, there is this old book of Pashto titled Pata Khazana, a hidden treasure. So Balochistan indeed is a Pata Khazana of Pakistan. Now I would request the CEO of Board of Investment and Trade Balochistan, Mr. Farman Zarkoon, to begin with his presentation. But before the presentation, the Board of Investment would run a video on overall Balochistan and the opportunities that the province has. So over to you, Mr. Farman Zarkoon. Thank you.
Balochistan is an overture to great financial prospects. It is increasingly becoming a busy province of Pakistan, and the dynamics of the process are very exciting. A range of sectors with great potentials in innovative industrialization and development for higher economic prosperity advocate the true potentials of investment in Balochistan. Rapid progress in the areas of urban infrastructure and development, trade and transportation, power generation, fisheries, agriculture, livestock, and much more offer the opportunities envisioning industrial and trade development. Rich in unique culture and heritage, the people of Balochistan are embracing the waves of innovative industrialization. Balochistan is a province that is beautifully landscaped with abundant natural resources. And it now harbors the tip of the new Silk Route. It is the next favorite destination for trade to reach out to new markets. Systematic efforts are underway towards facilitating investments by addressing factors like economic compatibility, affordability, access to natural resources, availability of needed human resource, and of course, taking charge of enforced safety and protection for the greater good. From the mountainous north to the gorgeous coastal belt, accelerated uplifting of the overall region have augmented the trust in the current leadership's forward-looking, growth-oriented approach. Development and facilitation rendered by public and private sector organizations in the province are building strong grounds for a truly international trade hub in the making. Several small and large entities are being formed to provide support for the new investment climate. As a primary source of guidance for reliable investment, Board of Investment of Balochistan invites you to initiate a provocative dialogue and discuss the competitive operational costs to expand your businesses. Having a strategic location and land of limitless resources for safe and secure investment, we welcome you to witness the proactive set of financial opportunities firsthand and experience the unparalleled hospitality of our lively people.
His Excellency Saratnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner of Pakistan to South Africa, His Excellency Chief Tesele, the keynote speaker, Honorable Prince Ahmed Ali, and also our keynote speaker, other respected dignitaries, and our valuable viewers who are watching us live on the Facebook and the YouTube. A very, very good afternoon from Quetta, Balochistan. As respectable High Commissioner and Sir Ahmed Ali has already briefed, has given an overview of the province of Balochistan and the potential and the opportunities that it offers. I will cover and I'll give you an in-depth analysis of what this province has to offer, what are the kind of incentives that we have, the investment regime that is in place, particular opportunities in every sector that exist, and the kind of facilitation that the Balochistan Board of Investment and Trade provides. So I would start with my presentation. I'll start with an overview of the Pakistan as a country. We are one of the world's earliest and largest civilization, and we date back to 6000 BC. We are proud to be home to the world's youngest Nobel Prize winner, and that's not the only Nobel Prize that we have. We have more than one Nobel Prize winners as well. We were declared as a top holiday destination for travelers in the year 2020 by the CNT magazine, the New York. We are home to the world's largest deep sea port and second highest peak. The largest deep sea port is indeed in Balochistan province, that we'll cover in the coming slides as well. Just an overview of the relationship that we enjoy, as was mentioned by our moderator as well, and Sir High Commissioner as well, that we enjoy very good diplomatic relations. Pakistan, in fact, is the leading trainer of the Lesotho Defense Force. We are already in the process of Pakistan with the Saku region is in the process of negotiation for the trade agreement, a free trade agreement that will benefit both the traders on both the sides. We have more than 75,000 Pakistanis living in South Africa at this point of time as well. Keeping in view all this, our Ministry of Commerce, which deals with the commerce and trade part, has already launched a Look Africa policy initiative in August 2017. And there have been a lot of initiatives taken after that under this new policy. I'll cover that also in the coming slides. Just an overview of this list of exports from Pakistan to Botswana. We have vehicles, machinery, all this stuff. This gives an idea that the connection, the exchange of the trade and the goods, it already exists. All we have to do is to capitalize on this already established channel to increase the volume of the trade. This gives a list of the Pakistan's export to Mozambique, which includes cereals, salts and sweeteners, salt, sulfur, earthstone. We have a lot of pharmaceutical products that we export from here, tobacco and plastics as well. This is the list of export from Pakistan to Lesotho. It includes agri products as well, plastics as well, other articles of iron and steel as well. And Pakistan also imports from Lesotho. This is a list of the imports that we do from the Lesotho. So this, again, like I said, this shows that the channel is already established. So through this forum, through these kind of events, our purpose is to capitalize on the opportunities that are available there, to enhance the trade volume between the countries, between Pakistan and all these countries, and to, in fact, increase exchange of the investors on both the sides. This is Pakistan's export list to the South Africa, which is significant as compared to the other countries. This is a list of the Pakistan's imports from the South Africa. Again, the Namibia. So the Look Africa policy initiative that was launched by the Ministry of Commerce, Government of Pakistan, the purpose behind it was to enhance the connectivity between the Africa and Pakistan. In fact, our federal government established a full-fledged Africa cell in the Trade Development Authority of Pakistan. A special facilitation mechanism has been put in place to entertain the delegations to and from Africa. The 2% additional duty drawback has been given on the selected items that are being exported to Africa, and the bilateral and multilateral trade agreements are under negotiation. All these steps are being taken under the Look Africa policy initiative. The purpose is to enhance the trade volume between Pakistan and the African nations. As was mentioned by the respectable High Commissioner as well and Sir Ahmed Ali as well, Pakistan in general and Balochistan in particular is now open to investment, and this can be seen from the fact that the Pakistan was among the world 5 best reforming countries when it comes to the ease of doing business index that is published by the World Bank. We're proud to highlight the fact that we jumped almost 26 slots within 1 year. That shows the willingness of the current political, the parties that are the ruling parties, the current regime, that they are so much open towards the investment. They are taking all the initiatives to ensure the facilitation for the investors. Having given you an overview about the Pakistan overall, I'll now talk about Balochistan. Balochistan, we are almost half of the country's landmass. We are 44% of the size of the country. We have 6 types of landscapes. We cover 73% coastline of Pakistan. We share 2,200 kilometer international borders with the countries of Afghanistan and Iran. And through Afghanistan, it gives us unlimited access to all the Central Asian economies. We also share borders with all the 3 provinces, Sindh, Punjab, and KPK. We consider ourselves as the cultural hub of Pakistan. We have 8 religions, 10 ethnicities, and 14 languages in Balochistan, though our population is very less as compared to the other provinces. The economy of Balochistan is agriculture driven, but our budget is development driven. We have number of foreign companies already operational in Balochistan. We have a very thriving, dynamic business community with almost 5 functional chambers of commerce. And we are the nucleus of the Pakistan-China Economic Corridor, which is an integral part of the One Belt, One Road initiative of the Chinese government. Just an overview of the infrastructure that we have. We have more than 5,000 kilometers of highway network. We have 3 major international airports. We have 1,000 kilometer railway network. We have the world's deepest seaport, Gwadar, which I'll cover in very detail in the coming slides. We have natural underground water. We are blessed with a lot of mineral resources as well. This map shows the regional connectivity that Balochistan has. We have a network, the road network and the communication, the connectivity network of railways, roads, airports. In addition to the international airports, 3 international airports, we have multiple domestic airports as well, which gives very good connectivity throughout the province, from the north to south, east to west. Also the seaport. The blue line that you see on your screen on the map, that is basically the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor route. It passes right in the middle of the province, and among the other 2 routes as well, 2 passes through Balochistan. This gives an overview of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is the strategic game changer. This shows how this economic corridor will have an impact on the overall access from the Chinese Xinjiang province to the Middle East, to the North Africa, to the Gulf area. It used to be, this route is presently being used. And however, with the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the route they will be faster and it will be shortened by more than 2,000 kilometers, giving an unlimited access through Gwadar to the African region, as well as to the Middle East and the Mediterranean regions. It's a huge project which will link 3 billion people of Europe, Asia, and Africa. It already has added a lot to the economy of Pakistan, but overall it will add 13,000 megawatt electricity only to the overall energy mix of Pakistan. The total estimated cost is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is $75 billion plus, and most of it has already been executed. There are a lot of projects has been done in the region of province of Balochistan as well. I'll cover those projects as well. We have a long route all the way from Gwadar to Kashgar, with the route which I showed in the previous slide as well. That goes all the way from Gwadar in the middle of Balochistan up to the north of Pakistan and then to the Kashgar and China. Under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which we consider Balochistan as the heart of the CPEC, and Gwadar is the crown of the CPEC. We have multiple projects that are either they have been completed or in the pipeline. 2,000 kilometer dual highway network is under progress in Balochistan under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. We already have a power plant of 1,320 megawatt in the district Lasbela, Balochistan. It's already operational. We have another power plant of 300 megawatt coming up in Gwadar to fulfill the energy needs of the Gwadar and the Gwadar port. We will have a cross-border optical fiber cable. There will be more than $700 million US projects are only in the city of Gwadar. This is the highway network that is being built under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the more than 2,000 kilometer highway network only in the province of Balochistan. If you see, there are 3 routes. We call them central CPEC route, the eastern and the western route. And Balochistan is a province lucky to have all these 3 routes passing through Balochistan, giving it all the connectivity, all the districts connectivity, which we could never dream of before this. Under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, if we talk about Gwadar, the specific projects in the Gwadar. We already have completed Gwadar desalination plant. We have the biggest international airport of the country coming up in Gwadar. It's already in the progress, is being developed. There are a lot of construction of breakwaters has been done. Gwadar East Bay Expressway, which gives a connectivity to the Gwadar port directly to the motorways and the national highway bypassing the Gwadar city. That is already almost completed. We have hospitals coming up. And Gwadar is the first smart master planning is being done for the Gwadar city. So it will be a smart port city master plan is being done under the CPEC one. And last but not the least, the only free trade zone of the country has been established in Gwadar. So talking about the investment regime and incentives, I'll give a general overview of the investment regime that that's followed throughout the country, and then I'll come down to the Balochistan and the opportunities that are available in Balochistan. For investment regime, we have a very liberal investment regime. 100% foreign ownership is allowed. There is no restriction on the foreign real estate development. The companies are allowed for 100% repatriation of the dividends profits. We have bilateral investment treaties with 47 countries, which makes it very easier for the potential investors to come in and take benefit of that. We have double taxation avoidance treaties with almost 52 countries, again giving huge edge to the investors and the traders. We have an online mechanism for payment of taxes. We have an integrated border customs clearance system, making the overall trade regime very easy. There is no restriction on the payment of royalties and technical fee for the manufacturing sector as well as for the food sector as well. The custom duties in the agriculture sector, for which there is huge potential in Balochistan, that is almost zero. In some places, it's just up to 5%. There's a list of few trade agreements that are already in place of Pakistan with different countries. And we have, like I mentioned in my initial slides, we have a trade agreement, free trade agreement is under negotiation with the Saku region as well. Very important area to be highlighted, the Afghan trade transit, which allows direct duty-free export to Afghanistan. And it regularizes the informal trade between Afghanistan and Pakistan. It all goes through the Gwadar port, through the Balochistan. It also offers a lot of opportunities for the international the traders or the exporters from the African region, as well as the African companies working in the Afghanistan or as well as the Central Asian markets. The access is through Balochistan, through Pakistan, through the Gwadar port. About the foreign remittances, as I mentioned, we have around more than 75,000 Pakistani diaspora in South Africa only, and there are many more in the neighboring countries as well. So to facilitate them, our federal government, the state bank, has initiated a special convertible rupee account for the foreigners so that their investment in the securities market can be facilitated. For the FDI inflow, also special foreign currency accounts have been allowed. For the dividend outflow, also these accounts are. Security usually is always, when it comes to investment, security is one of the biggest concern of the investors. So I thought it would be good if I add it in my presentation. We have a very improved security situation now. Things have changed significantly here. We are proud to say that we have one of the world's best army and the second best intelligence agency. And this, for the CPEC route and for the investment and trade, we have raised a special div of the army that itself is protecting the whole CPEC route. We have more than 80,000 strong frontier corps force for the CPEC routes. We have special force deployment for the foreign investors as well as for the CPEC. This shows the seriousness of the government as well to address the concerns of the international investors. The foreign company registrations in Pakistan, if you want to start a business in Pakistan, this was also these reforms were brought in under the improvement that we did in the ease of doing business. There are only 2 to 3 steps that are needed to open a company and start business in Pakistan, and it can be done in hours only. And as per our investment regime, we do allow the opening of branch offices as well. So it's not required that the companies should have a full-fledged specific office here. They can have a branch office here as well to start their operations with. So foreign company registration, like I mentioned, just 2 to 3 steps it requires. It's very easy to start the business in Pakistan. overall. And we have a Foreign Private Investment Promotion and Protection Act, which protects the investors, to give them the rights for the repatriation facilities, avoidance of the double taxation. We give equal treatment to foreign and local industrial undertakings. Is that we treat them same. The remittances by the foreign employers are protected under this act. This act also gives protection against the nationalization or any kind of change in the policy at the governmental level. About the institutional arrangements, as a foreign investor, anybody coming into Pakistan, it's very important to highlight the institutional arrangement that we have, that they have to pass through. We have a federal board of investment that deals with the federal subjects like visas, permits, customs, and all. We have a federal private partnership, public-private partnership body as well, which deals with the PPP projects related to the federal subjects, especially with the roads, dams, and other areas. We have a special economic zone act, which which defines incentives for the special economic zones that are being built in every province. So, in order to keep uniformity among all the SEZs being built across the country, we also have provision for export processing zones establishment. We have them all in Balochistan as well. And then after the federal, for every province, there is a provincial board of investment and trade, which is an investment promotion agency as well, help with the investors facilitation. That's the body that I am representing right now, the Balochistan Board of Investment and Trade. We also at the provincial level have public-private partnership body. We have a special economic zone authority that regulates the SEZs within the province. And like I mentioned, we also have export processing zone authority. In Balochistan, the current government is very forward-looking, very open to the investors. From its start, they have already launched sector-specific policies, especially the biggest sector that we have, the Balochistan mineral policy, is already there. Balochistan labor policy has been launched. Balochistan agriculture and livestock policy has been launched. We have a full-fledged cell under the Planning and Development Department that deals with the public-private partnership projects. We are working very closely with the international development agencies, World Bank, USAID, UNDP, GIZ, DFID, all of them, to improve the overall investment competitiveness, to improve the investment climate of the province, to increase the competitiveness of the province. We have already automated the provincial taxes as well. And the current government has strengthened the board of investment and make it capable enough to actually highlight, to project or promote the true potential that the province has, and as well as to extend full facilitation in one window of operation services to the investors coming into the province. We are based in our provincial capital, but we have a liaison office at Islamabad in order to help investors in dealing with all the federal subjects that are being dealt in Islamabad. Also, we have an office coming up in the Karachi, which is the economic hub of the country, and one in Gwadar, which is the future economic hub of the country. We are making sure that we have presence at in every city where the investors investors can face any kind of issue, so we'll be there to facilitate them. We already have launched the one window facilitation services, which we are providing through our head office. For our public-private partnership opportunities in the province, we have a very liberal act when it comes to the PPP regime in the province. It covers all types of public-private partnership. As you can see on your screen, it covers every possible type of public-private partnership mode. And also it covers every sector. So whichever sector the investors are interested in, be it warehousing, logistics, communication, transportation, industrial zone, mining projects, every sector that the investors are interested in, our PPP Act has got it covered, and we have a regulatory regime in place to facilitate them. And our PPP Act gives an exemption from all these procedural requirements for such international government bodies or corporate bodies that are owned or controlled by the governments. So for G2G agreements, we don't have to go through all the procedures that are defined in the law. That can be direct contracting can be done on case of G2G projects. The investment zones in Balochistan. Before highlighting specific opportunities in every sector, I'll talk about the established zones that we already have in Balochistan. We have two special economic zones in Balochistan. We have two export processing zones. Both of these export processing zones are mineral specific. We have the only free trade zone that is in the country. We have 7 established industrial units. This map gives an overview. I'll talk about each one of them in these slides. For the special economic zones, our law allows 3 different kinds of special economic zones. Either it can be public-owned special economic zones, which we have 2 in Balochistan in the district Lasbela at the hub area, and one is at Balochistan. We also have the provision of privately owned special economic zones, where an investor gets a land and they develop it on their own. In fact, we have now the regulations have been approved for the sole enterprise special economic zones as well. So even a single industry can get the status of the special economic zone and enjoy all the incentives and the tax exemptions that are granted in the SEZ Act. We also have a provision for the public-private partnership basis special economic zone development, where government will provide land and the investor can develop the zone. This is in the capacity of developing the zone. Then within the zone, also for the zone enterprises, there are certain incentives as well. Talking about the incentives that the SEZ Act provides, it provides one-time exemption from all custom duties on the capital goods imported. Yeah, and it provides 10 years exemption on all income from development and operations of SEZ. This is for the developers. The similar exemptions are also given for the zone enterprises. The government, through the law SEZ Act, also ensures, promises for provision of all the utilities, public utilities that are required for the development of the zone. Also, complete assistance will be provided in the land acquisition in case the land is to be acquired from the private parties. Infrastructure also government promises to provide. Like I said, for the zone enterprise also, again, there's one-time exemption for custom duties and capital goods imported, and 10-year exemption on all income from the business operations. So there are these opportunities in the SEZs. Talking about the 2 SEZs that are in Balochistan, the first one is the Balochistan Special Economic Zone, which is in very close proximity to the Afghanistan border, just 100 kilometers away from there, giving unlimited access to the huge Central Asian market. It is connected to the national motorway. It's on an area of around 4 million square meter. And it is just 20 minutes from the capital city of the province. It is also connected to the CPEC Western Corridor. And the next is the Hub Special Economic Zone on an area of around 1.7 million square meter in the first phase. In the next phase, we are expanding it, the phase 2, another around 2 million square meter will be added to this economic zone. This is just 23 kilometers away from the economic capital of the Pakistan, which is Karachi. And it is next to our most successful industrial area, which already has more than 100 plus operational units. It is just 14 kilometers away from the national motorway, also connected to the CPEC route. And the Karachi International Airport is just half an hour drive from there. So it is in such a close proximity to Karachi that the incentives that can be availed, that are given by the province of Balochistan, and the investors can have the benefit of access to the huge market of Karachi itself, which has a population of more than 25 million. Few opportunities that are there in the special economic zones. Investors can have sole enterprise special economic zones. They can come with establish their own industrial units and get the unit declared as a special economic zone and enjoy the tax exemption for the 10 years and also one-time exemption on the import of all the machinery. If investors are interested, they can come in and they can establish sector-specific special economic zones. We have in every sector, be it agriculture, be it minerals, sector-specific SEZs can be established where all the entities that are a part of the whole supply chain or the value addition chain of that particular sector, that SEZ can be provided to them. Also, they can come as a zone enterprise as one of the units in the already established SEZs, or they can come and become partners with the government of Balochistan for development of a zone where government of Balochistan will provide land and the investor can develop the zone, which then can be, out of which the plots can be given to the zone enterprises, individual industries. I'll now talk about the free trade zone Gawadar. Gawadar is It is the gateway to the Central Asia. Through this, it is going all the way to the China. It gives an unlimited access to China, to the MENA region, to the Gulf region, to the African nations. It allows it. There are special incentives given for the Gwadar free zone. It also allows 100% foreign ownership. There's a tax holiday from all kind of taxes, duties, every kind of taxes for a period of 23 years. It has world-class infrastructure and security already in place. And there are more than 40 companies which are already functional within the free zone. There are special flexible visa regulations when it comes to investors who are interested in investing in the Gwadar free zone. There is 100% exemption on the custom duties for construction and operation. Like I said, this is the only free zone of the country which is located in Balochistan. We also have 2 export processing zones in Balochistan, one at the location of Sandak, which is for the copper and gold processing. It's a mineral specific export processing zone, and one is at the Huldar near Dudar, which is for the lead and zinc. Again, like I said, both these export processing zones are mineral specific. So there is a lot of potential for establishing new export processing zones, the mineral specific. Most of the minerals that are being exported from Balochistan at the moment are being exported in the raw form. So if an investor is interested, we can give them the opportunity to have a setup of the value addition in Balochistan, get that declared as export processing zone, take benefit of all these tax exemptions that are provided under the EPZ regime, and then export the final product. It has very liberal regime, the EPZ. It just asks for a presumptive tax of 1%. There is no sales tax on the input of goods. There is duty-free vehicles are allowed. Even domestic market is available to the extent of 20%. But up to 80% has to be exported if it is declared an export. The exchange control regulations are not applicable there. So that issue of the currency devaluation, that was also addressed in this. The development is also on a very competitive rates. Balochistan, like I said, is huge. It's half of the total landmass of the country. So keeping in view that government of Balochistan in the current government came up with a Balochistan land lease policy specifically for the foreign investors. So for the purposes of establishing EPZs, SEZs, or any other industry, for every industry as the land is required. So we came up with a proper regime to address those concerns of the investors, and we have a land lease policy in place that assists and actually promote foreign investment. Only simple NOCs are required. One NOC is required from Ministry of Foreign Affairs and federal government, and the rest of the process is just 2 to 3 steps. And we give land on a period of on lease for a period of 33 years, which is extendable up to 99 years as well. The priority sectors. Now I'll talk about each sector in detail. One of the priority sectors is information technology. Balochistan and the Pakistan overall is spending on almost 4.6 billion PKR on IT projects. IT and ITES export remittances recorded at around $1.2 billion in 2019 and 2020. The federal government is so serious about the development of the IT sector that a digital Pakistan policy was launched in 2018, which prioritized areas including e-governance, agriculture, and justice, and e-commerce. Special technology zones are being established. The first one is coming up in our federal city of Islamabad. Having said that, we have a thriving e-commerce industry, which is already estimated at PKR 99 billion rupees in 2018. It's almost $1 billion currently. The year-on-year growth is around 92%, which is very high, very significant. Almost half of the population of Pakistan uses smartphones, shows how easy they are with the technology, how they are acquainted to the technology already. We have successful e-commerce businesses in Balochistan that already exist. The Kareem, Uber, we have online shopping, Daraz, the Food Panda is there, OLX is there. In fact, Amazon.com it's has also recently established a company in Pakistan. This shows the potential that the e-commerce sector has in Pakistan. Pakistan is ranked as 4th most popular country for freelancing by Oxford Internet Institute. We have more than 600 registered call centers in Pakistan. With English as an official language, there's huge scope for growth in the IT sector. The Balochistan is a very lucrative market where most of the population is tech savvy, and there are around 5 to 10 universities in the IT sector. The current government established a special national incubation center at Quetta to promote the startups and entrepreneurship culture, where we provide state-of-the-art facilities to nurture the startups. The Pakistan Software Export Board has announced a lot of incentives for the IT sector. There's only 5% sales tax in the technology specialized zones. There is 100% repatriation of profit is allowed. IT products and services are exempted from all kind of taxes when it comes to the export of IT solutions. There is an inbound and outbound visa facilitation for all the IT related customers, investors, and company employees. 100% foreign ownership is allowed, and there is subsidized participation in the international exhibitions and road shows. We have more than 300 active companies of IT registered with Pakistan Software Export Board. So with such low labor cost, English-speaking workforce, more than 10 IT universities in Balochistan, there's huge scope for investment into the startup financing, establishing of software houses, information technology parks. In fact, our present government has taken an initiative by the present government that we're establishing the first IT park of the province at the capital city of Quetta. Next would be mining and minerals. We are blessed to be we are lucky to be blessed with huge reserves of mining and mineral, and I think our counterparts in the African nations, they understand the value that this would add to our economy. We have more than we have coal, chromite. We have around 92 identified minerals. This is just an overview, a map of the minerals that have been identified, the reserves that have been identified at different parts of the province. To share a few numbers with you, we have around 75 million plus tons of iron ore. These are the identified reserves. We have, on some sources, say unlimited, but the assessment is 100 billion tons of onyx, marble, and granite in the district Chagi. We have more than 50 million plus identified reserves of sulfur. We have 26 million plus tons of lead and zinc, for which we already have an export processing zone in place. We have 186 billion plus tons of coal. The Sendak Copper Gold project is worth $350 million. It's already being done by the Metallurgical Corporation of China, MCC China, at a lease of 10 years. They have been working on this project since 1990s. The lease gets extended. It's a very successful project. So there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to mining. There's a modernized mining techniques we require. We know there are a lot of international companies working in South Africa already using modern techniques. Then the skill transfer can be done, the technology transfer can be done. The same companies can expand their operations from South Africa to Balochistan because we share almost same kind of the landscape when it comes to the minerals, the terrain and all. There is opportunity for establishing processing plants for every kind of minerals, for refining, and they're doing value addition of the minerals. Coal washing plants with such huge reserves of coal existing here, there is huge potential for establishing coal washing plants as well. There is also a scope potential for establishment of thermal power stations near the coal fields of Balochistan, the coal fields from where electricity can be generated as well. Already existing. We have enough limestone, gypsum, and shale. So talking about the energy sector, I'll call the energy sector. I've been told one of our respectable speakers, Mr. Fellow Majoro, she has to be at some other meeting. So I'll take a break here. session. She'll give her remarks, a brief presentation, and after that, I'll continue with my presentation. I'll cover the remaining sectors. To Mr. Fellow.
Yeah, thank you, Farman. We are taking a little break in the presentation. As Farman said, I would invite Ms. Majuro. She is a Senior Manager for Investment Development and Facilitation at the Gauteng Growth Development Agency. And I would request her for her remarks as she has to rush for another commitment. Mr. Fellow, please.
Good afternoon to all the panelists, and thank you, the moderator, for accommodating my request. As you already indicated, I'm from the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, which is an agency of the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, and we are responsible for attracting foreign direct investment into the province, as well as mobilizing domestic investment. But more importantly, we are tasked with improving the ease of doing business within the province by facilitating a host of investor services when investors come and locate into the province, from arranging immigration services to fast-tracking the approvals of regulatory issues, to assisting with municipality related queries. So any kind of problem that the investor comes to us with when they come into the province, it is our role that we go out and assist them to get the services provided to them speedily. But what I'm going to touch on today, I will share my brief presentation, is the opportunities that are available within the Gauteng province. Okay, I'm not sure how to share this one, so I'll just talk to it. But basically, the Gauteng province is the economic hub of South Africa, if I should put it that way. And mostly we refer to it as the Gauteng City region, encompassing even some of the regions that are on the periphery of the Gauteng City region. Interestingly, Gauteng City region or Gauteng province is the smallest province of South Africa, but it accounts for the most of the GDP, accounting for about 35% of South Africa's GDP, as well as 42% of industrial output, as well as 63% of the national exports. So in essence, if Gauteng was not exporting, then the country would only export about 47% of the total exports for South Africa at the moment. But more importantly, to just highlight how economic power the Gauteng province is, it is ranked the 7th largest economy in Africa. So if you consider the fact that there are 54 African economies, then Gauteng City region is bigger than the most of the African countries if we were to look at the economic output. It is also ranked as the 26th largest urban region in the world, and that is how we view our strength and strengths as the Gauteng City region. And what does that mean for an investor when they come into the province? It means you are coming into a province of that is well resourced in terms of infrastructure, that is well resourced in terms of financial services, that is well resourced in terms of skilled people in the province. But what I want to talk to you mostly about is the issue of what opportunities the Gauteng province is currently thriving. The province is actually divided into 5 corridors: the Central Corridor, Eastern Corridor, Southern Corridor, Western Corridor, and the Northern Corridor. And each of the corridors, the opportunities that are there, or the investment developments that have been driven there currently, are based on the competitive advantage of each of the corridors. So when you look at the Central Corridor, which would mostly be the Johannesburg city region, it is viewed as the finance and ICT and retail hub of the province, including business services and pharmaceuticals. So that is where you find all the banking the banking companies. That is where you find most of the headquarters of the multinational companies. They are based in Joburg. The ICT industry is heavy there. The retail industry is heavy there. So when we look at this particular corridor, when drive opportunities there, then we focus on those opportunities that sort of move towards those particular clusters. Then we have the Eastern Corridor, which is Ekurhuleni for purposes of the local people. And in that particular corridor, we are looking at advanced manufacturing. Ekurhuleni is commonly known as the manufacturing hub of the province. So that's where you find a whole lot of industries in Ekurhuleni or in the Eastern Corridor, focusing on advanced manufacturing, food and beverages, the defense and aerospace, transport and logistics, machinery and capital equipment. Then moving to the Southern Corridor, it is the corridor that focuses mainly on tourism, agriculture and agro-processing, as well as logistics. But currently, the provincial government, working together with the national government, there are plans to put what we call a Val River City, which is you would say a development of a new city in that particular corridor. Obviously, when you talk of a city, you can already imagine the other secondary economic opportunities or development opportunities that will come out of that. So there will be mixed nodes developments, they'll be focused on the agricultural aspect of that area, as well as the manufacturing. There will also be an SEZ that will be created in that particular corridor to complement that development of the new city. Then we have the West Rand, which previously has been the mining and mineral town, but given that there is depletion of the mining resources, there's a need to refocus the economic activities in the area. That is why we're moving more towards the mineral beneficiation, as well as agriculture and agro-processing. We have lots and lots of pockets of land in the area, and we are considering opportunities in the agricultural sector, including the cannabis industry that we are currently developing in the province. There's tourism in the industry in that particular sector. That's where you find Bomaruping and the cattle of humankind. Then there's the renewable energy sector there. There's pockets of land and development that are purely reserved for the renewable energy projects, and projects have been identified. Feasibility studies are going on for investors who may be interested in such. Then we have the Northern Corridor, which we normally refer to as the city of Tshwane. That's where we find all our embassies in this particular region. But the interesting thing about the Northern City or the Northern Corridor is that it is being developed as the automotive city of the province and possibly of the country. We have currently in the Northern Corridor the Automotive Industrial Development Hub. If I should mention also that the Automotive Industrial Development Center is the subsidiary of the GGDA, and they focus mostly on attracting investments in the automotive sector. The other interesting element is that recently, last year, the president launched an automotive SEZ, still in the Northern Corridor, where we have Ford as the anchor tenant. Currently, there are developments in the form of bulk infrastructure and top structures that are happening. And we already have the first phase of that development fully subscribed. So investors who are looking to locate there, they could be looking into other phases that will go online in the next 2 years or so. In this particular corridor, we also focus on the innovation sectors. We also have a subsidiary there called the Innovation Hub that focuses on sectors such as renewable energy, sectors such as biochemicals, green economies and the likes. And in that particular precinct, we also incubate entrepreneurs in the IT industry or in the innovative sectors as a whole. What we are currently doing with the Innovation Hub, or TIH as it's normally referred to, we assist them to bring in locators or companies that would want to locate in their space that are in the research and development space. It is an innovative space, so you can imagine the kind of investors that we are looking into. There are pockets of land as well there that have been developed. There's plans to develop parts of the pieces of land for purposes of cannabis, growing the cannabis, and then processing it further, making perhaps oil or other products out of it in that particular sector. We focus also on the business process outsourcing. South Africa is very huge on this particular sector, given its advantage in the form of skills in that particular sector, and the labor force that is available in abundance. So there's setting up of a lot of call centers around the province that we can support also as the GGDA. I should also mention that this sector in particular, the BPO sector, is a priority sector for the province, given its ability to create a whole number of jobs that are much needed. Then we have the agriculture and agro-processing, as well as defense and aerospace that are happening in this particular corridor. So this is how we currently structure our opportunities in the various corridors. I'll just quickly get to the detail of perhaps each corridor, what we are looking into. So when we look at the Northern Corridor, what I quickly just gave now, what was just a brief summary of how the province is structured in terms of the opportunities. But when we drill down to the details of what opportunities are there, that's what I will talk to briefly. So when you look at the Northern Corridor, the province plans to unlock about 100 billion rand over the next 5 to 10 years. And the specific investment projects that will be driving or will be used to drive that particular process. As I have already mentioned, we have the automotive SEZ. We also have the high-tech SEZ that will be working together with the Innovation Hub, as I said. We have property development nodes around the area, mentioning the development of the mainland precinct. We also have developments such as the Rainbow Junction that is in the north of Pretoria. That will be a mixed-use development of about 12 billion rand. We will be also revitalizing industrial townships that are already operational in the different townships of the province. When we move on to the Central Corridor, the focus there for the Central Corridor is the rejuvenation of the inner city through releasing of the buildings of that are currently owned by the public sector to private developers to revamp them, as well as to university to perhaps turn some of them into residential units for students. But basically, if you understand the inner city, you'd understand the buildings, the structure of the city that are there. Some of them getting dilapidated, but the plan of the province is to take those buildings that are already in existence, instead of demolishing it, they don't need to necessarily be demolished. They be revamped and be turned into usable buildings for various purposes. We're also looking at supporting or consolidating developments in the south, in the Sandton and Rosebank and Midland area. You would if you're based here, you would know that there's huge developments around the waterfall, as well as Fourways, the Steyn City and Riversands. There's developments in Randbeck and Lanseria. In fact, there is going to be a new city as well in the around the Lanseria airport. And for this particular note, the government is looking at about 200 billion rand of investments in the next 5 to 10 years. For the next corridor, which is the Western Corridor, we are looking to unlock about 25 billion rand. And this 25 billion rand will be from the agro-processing as well as agriculture and human settlement, investments in the Maruping and Hardebees tourism area. There's expansions in the Basmark manufacturing operations there. We're looking at the Southern Corridor. As I said, there's going to be a new SEZ. There's a lot of private investments that will be happening there from various manufacturing industries. And for this particular corridor, we are looking about 20 billion rand. And the last corridor, which is the Eastern Corridor, we are also looking to unlock about 200 billion rand through the OR Tambo SEZ, through the Aerotropolis development, and through mega human settlements that are also planned for that particular corridor. The last point that I want to make is the fact that Gauteng is very special in its own right. And for that purpose, it has been allowed to have multiple SEZs. The policy of South Africa is that each province can have a maximum of 2 SEZs. But given the economic importance of the country, in terms of it being the manufacturing hub of the province as well as the continent, South Africa is, Gauteng is allowed to have as many SEZs as possible. Currently, there are others that are already operational, but there are others that are planned. About 11 of them currently that are in the plans, including the ones that are operational. And all of this are going to focus on different sectors that complement the areas where they will be based. With that, this would be the contribution that we have from the Gauteng
Mr. Follow, I think the connection was broken. You're back online if you would like to continue or conclude it.
Oh no, I was broken.
Yeah, just in the end, just at the end.
Just at the end. Oh, okay. No, thank you so much. But essentially, I think what the last part was talking about more of the fact that Gauteng is a city region, it's allowed to have multiple SEZs as compared to other provinces that are only allowed to have just one, just about 2 SEZs. So Gauteng is allowed to have as many SEZs as possible. That's why it's been referred to as the multi-tier SEZ province. I think that would be the contribution that we have for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Tefano Majoro. That was a very insightful information on our look into the Gauteng province, which is indeed the financial hub of Republic of South Africa. Now I would request Mr. Faman Zerpoons, your CEO of Board of Investment and Trade in Balochistan, to continue with his presentation, and thereafter we will continue with the rest of the speakers.
Thank you, Member, for passing the mic back to me. I'll continue the presentation from where I left. I'll now cover the energy and power sector. The Balochistan province we have the world's largest wind corridor. We have the highest average solar radiation in the world in certain parts of it. I'll show a map as well. We have already, next to Gwadar, there's a city called Pasni. The government has announced it to be as the next oil city, and 80,000 acres land has been specifically allocated for the Pasni oil city. Power generation is the key area in overall Pakistan as well. It is the highest FDI in Pakistan is in the power generation sector, which was total in around 997 million US dollar. So, and in Balochistan, we have two huge energy-related projects coming up. The Saudi state-owned Aramco refinery has signed an MOU with our government for establishment of Aramco refinery here in the Pasni oil city, which will be worth 9 billion US dollar. We have another Pak Arab refinery already established and working in Pakistan. They have signed an agreement to extend their the facility, and they establish a new refinery, which will be the biggest refinery of the country, worth 10 billion US dollar. It's also situated at the district Las Vela, Gidani area, which is right next to our hub special economic zones. Special economic zone, and just half an hour from the Karachi city. We have recently signed a memorandum of agreement with the South Korean government for 300 megawatt solar power plant near the capital city of Quetta. The Pakistan, the current government is very clear with its vision when it comes to the clean energy, when it comes to the climate, in addition to the plantation whole thing being done by the federal government. They have unveiled, just last month, they unveiled an alternate and renewable energy policy, which offers generous tax facilities to the investors. There is like a goal of the government is to reach an energy mix of around 20% by 2025 and 30% by 2030, the clean energy mix. Currently, it stands at 5% only. So this shows the huge gap that is there, which can be tapped by the investors. The aim is to reduce the tariff to just 4 cents. There is, under this new policy, very clear mechanisms have been defined for B2B and B2G agreements for the investors. And the tax rate has been declared as 0 for the import of the renewable energy related equipments. So this shows the vision that the government of Pakistan overall has for the energy sector, and now combining that with the alternate energy, the renewable energy potential that the province of Balochistan has, there is a lot of potential that the investors can take advantage of. This map shows the solar radiation, the annual solar radiation of the different parts. On the down left part where the Balochistan lies, we can see that the radiation is the highest. It's among one of the highest. The source is from the USAID. So there's huge potential for the solar energy projects there. And the wind potential again along the Balochistan, in the middle of the Balochistan, around the Chagi area again. We have the world's largest wind corridor. Again, the source we can see is from the USAID. These are international sources giving authentic data about the renewable energy potential in the province. So there are huge opportunities when it comes to solar power generation, concentrated solar power generation, small idle power generation, as we have water sources as well in different parts of the province. We have wind power plants can be installed. Tidal power, of course, with such a huge coast that we have, that can be done. So there's huge potential in the energy sector. Agriculture and livestock, as I mentioned initially, our economy and the provincial economy is agriculture driven. Around 70% of the population of Balochistan is directly or indirectly related to the agriculture and livestock. We are the fruit basket of Pakistan. We produce 83% of the total apple production of the country, 92% of the total almond production of the country, more than 50% of the total plums production of the country, more than 90% of the total apricots, more than 70% of total pomegranates, and around 98% of the total grapes production that comes from Balochistan. Pakistan is among 6th largest date producer and 3rd largest exporter of the dates. And Balochistan as a province produces 70% of the total national dates production. This shows the potential, the huge potential that is there in the agriculture sector. Around 90% of the area is considered as range and declared as rangeland. We also have huge export of the dry fruits from Balochistan, and to enhance the investment, the overall investment in the agriculture sector, and to increase the overall productivity, we have huge land mass. So the government has come up with a scheme of building dams at very strategic locations. We have with the help of federal government, Kachi Canal has been established, which adds an irrigatable area of around more than 100,000 acre area for the cultivation, for the agriculture. We have next to the near Gwadar in the Turbat city, a Mirani Dam has been established that also adds around 70 to 80,000 acre area which will have unlimited supply of fresh water. We have very fertile soil. The certain parts of Balochistan are known for its agricultural products as well. So opportunities in the agriculture sector are of the fertilizer and pesticide industry, of course, is required. The cold storage and packaging, of course, there's huge space for this. Tunnel farming, farm service machinery. Fruit processing is an area where there are unlimited opportunities with all those fruits being produced in Balochistan. The dry fruits is another area which offers a lot of opportunities as well. Again, for the livestock also, we produce more than 40% of the total camel production of the Pakistan. Around half of the country's sheep production is from the province of Balochistan. More than 22% goat production is from Balochistan. And all of this livestock, it is all organic meat. They're all natural grassy lands. Like I mentioned, more than 90% area is classified as the rangeland. There is the huge, more than 2 lakh tons of mutton is the total annual production mutton for the mutton. It contributes to the basically agriculture, half of the agricultural output production that is in the province. It comes from the livestock. So there is it's such an developed sector in Balochistan that we have all these facilities that are required for the development of the livestock sector. We have more than 100 veterinary hospitals in place, more than 800 veterinary dispensaries. That we have breeding centers, semen production units, epidemiology, disease investigation lab. So all on the modern lines and in a very developed system, the overall livestock sector is the most developed sector, one of the most developed sector in the province. So there's huge potential, and there are opportunities for the further production, slaughterhouses, cold storage, halal meat export, hide and skin processing, milk, dairy, and the byproducts can be there. We are at very close proximity to the Gulf region, to the MENA region, and also we share a huge border with Afghanistan, which gives us unlimited access to the Central Asian countries. With all those Muslim countries, there is this huge potential for the export of the halal meat. And there is this huge demand in these countries, especially in the Arab countries, where their own production is comparatively less, and they rely more on the imported meat. So organic and halal meat export is one of the biggest opportunity that can be tapped by the investors. Also, with the fisheries and the coastal development, as was mentioned in my initial presentation, we have around 73% of the total coastline of the country is in Balochistan, which constitutes for more than 750 kilometers. The government has declared, the federal government has declared that 2020 is the year of blue economy, which comes with, this announcement comes with a lot of incentives and facilitations for the investment in the related to the blue economy, be it renewable energy, be it fisheries, be it maritime transport, be it waste management, and be it tourism, coastal tourism and all. So this is just the coastline that the Balochistan has. It is spread around at an area of around 750 kilometers. We have around 73% of total Pakistan coastline, but we produce only 34% of the fish of the total production of the country, which shows that how much space is still left there, which can be tapped by the investors. And the quality of the fish that the fish catch is such that can be assessed by the fact that 80% of the fish catch is exported from Balochistan. So we have this good quality of this fish, shrimps, and other kind of fishes. So this figure shows that the total catch was around 0.15 billion ton fish was caught in 2018. We have specified landing sites And we have more than 36 kind of species of fish. Again, this all is in very much demand, especially in the landlocked country of Afghanistan and the Central Asian countries, which has direct access from the province of Balochistan. In fact, the capital city that we are sitting in is more closer to Afghanistan and the Central Asian countries than to our own economic hub of Karachi. So we have a workforce of around more than 70,000 fishermen population. So that's not an issue for the investor. They come in, there is a skilled workforce in the fishery sector. We have already small scale fishing industry is already developed. More than 10,000 fishing licenses have already been issued by the government of Balochistan. But normally the technology that they are using is a bit outdated, or it's locally made. These are a few types of fish that are very common, that make for most of the production, that is most of the catch that is being done from the coast of Balochistan. For the opportunities, of course, there is fish catching itself is one of the opportunity. Fish hatcheries there, with the modern boat manufacturing is there, which would help the fishing industry. The fish processing and storage plant is one of the biggest issue, that because of which the fish production is comparatively less, because the fish processing and storage plants are not there. The packaging and the export level standards, to ensuring that is an opportunity that the investors can avail, because the current players in this sector are all domestic players, and they are of very small scale. So for a foreign investor, for a huge company, there's a lot of space which they can take benefit from. Shipbreaking is one of the opportunity. We are world's third biggest shipbreaking yard, which spreads over 10-kilometer area, and is one of the most efficient in the region. It has 132 specified areas of shipbreaking, and it provides employment to more than 30,000 workers when it was at its peak. And in 2016 also, the Germany and Greece dumped the most amount of vessels at Kidani, which with the African continent also being the center and hub of the overall maritime route, the shipbreaking is a sector, an area which the investors can take advantage of. Tourism, we are blessed with all kind of weathers. We're blessed with all kind of terrains. We are blessed with all kind of cultures. We have snow, we have waterfalls, we have deserts. We have deserts, and we have mountain areas. We have plain areas. Just few glimpses of few. This is the view from the coastal tourism. We have very beautiful white sand beaches as well, golden sand beaches as well. We have islands as well. This is just a view of the coastal highway that passes through, that next to the coast, and comes all the way from Karachi to the whole coastal highway crosses, passes by nearby the coast and all the way to the Gwadar city. That's also part of the CPEC route now. Balochistan is one of the major attraction for the foreign tourists, since the security situation has improved a lot. So we have a number of foreign tourists already coming up. There are bloggers. There's huge opportunity when it comes to the hospitality sector, the hotel industry, resorts and recreational park, and of course food chains. Nando's is already here from South Africa. I think it's one of the most favorite of every Pakistani, especially because of the spices that are being used. So if that is there is still there's potential for more food chains as well that can come in. There is space or potential for the entertainment centers. There is for the resorts over the beach as well, for the water sports, for the recreational activities over the coast. There is huge potential for that as well. Recreational theme parks, one or two are already in the pipeline through certain international investors, but we have a huge coastline. There is more, and the government of Balochistan assures its full facilitation and provision of land on the coast for such projects. Urban development is also one of the key sectors that we have. The current government, with a lot of reforms that it has taken, one was to initiate a process where master plans will be launched for every city. Balochistan, with a lower population, lower concentration of population, again became lucky in a way that we are still at the initial stages to plan it very well. So with the master plans, there is huge potential for the urban development sector. And to support this, the federal government announced a construction relief package. the first of its kind in the history of Pakistan, which provides extensive relief to the overall sector. It exempts all the taxes of all the materials used in the construction sector, except for the steel and cement. As His Excellency, Mr. Chief, said in his speech, there are huge construction companies in Lesotho as well. So I think this is an area where they can take advantage of this relief package that has been announced. The government has announced a very ambitious plan of building 5 million affordable housing units. To achieve this plan, they have given an incentive to the private investors as well, that if private investor invests in the housing sector, so if they just assure government that 20% of that housing will be affordable housing, for which also the government will pay, but 20% will be low-cost housing. So the government will ensure facilitation throughout the process, provision of all the facilities under the one window facilitation. So in Balochistan, there is huge scope for the construction. Also, like I said, after the energy, it's the second largest FDI that flows into Pakistan is in the construction sector. So it's pretty much developed already. So there is a urban workforce as well as rural workforce available in the construction sector. The population rate, growth rate that we have is more than 2% annually. This also shows that the demand, we are already short of housing. So there is this huge gap which can be tapped by the investors. With the clean and green policies of renewable energy, smart city planning and all, government also launched an electric vehicles policy to make it more environment friendly. It also has been launched very recently within this year. So the electric EV sales will have to constitute around 30% of the new sales by 2030. That is the target. And by 2040, 90% of the vehicles are to be replaced with the EV vehicles. The same goes for the trucks as well, for the buses as well. So the incentives that the government has announced is there will be only 1% GST for electric vehicles. It has been brought down from 17%, which used to be. So it's exemplary itself. Lower electricity tariffs will be given for the EV charging stations. They're even lower than the residential electricity consumption rates. The import duty has been reduced to only 1%. So there would be public investment also. The government is ensuring that the government will ensure that there is charging stations for the electric vehicles on almost every 3-kilometer distance. And the state bank, the central bank, would offer lower interest rate financing for the EV manufacturers. So that's in a new area, the new arena, and where we have a lot of players showing interest coming in. Despite COVID, we've been contacted by a lot of investors, and that's an area where also the investors from African countries can take advantage of. That would be all from my end. I've tried my best to cover most of the areas, but of course, there's still much more that Balochistan offers. I'll be glad to answer that in the question answer session, or can be sent to on email to us, and we'll respond through the High Commission offices as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Farman Zarkoon. It was a very detailed and a very informative presentation. Indeed, I also did not know a lot of the things that you mentioned, the opportunities in different sectors, the potential in agriculture, tourism. Of course, Balochistan is a province that gives you, like, the Hooghar Mountains of Algeria, to the wine-side beaches of Tunisia, to the best cherries of the world elsewhere. And trust me, on the almonds, I don't want to say, but they're 1,000 times better than the Greek almonds. They are the tastiest almonds. Thank you. From that onward, I would request the serving commercial councillors of Sergio Carlos Macamo in South Africa to comment on the event, and also to share his thoughts with us, please. Sir Sergio Carlos Macamo.
Thank you very much, Umaira, and good afternoon, everyone. I would say lady and gentlemen, since you only have one lady in the room. I fully agree with you. This was very insightful presentation, and I particularly learned a lot on this. I mean, to be honest with you, there was very little I knew about Pakistan. But now I've learned that Balochistan is the most dynamic province in Pakistan. And I've also a lot of similarities between Pakistan, or for that matter, Balochistan and Mozambique, especially the availability of mineral resources, which we also do have, and I'm sure you've heard that Mozambique is probably the fourth largest natural gas producer with a recent discovery that we made on the northern part of the country. Logistic hub, Mozambique is as well a logistic hub, which is serving the hinterland countries and to some extent South Africa as well. And also, I've also heard that with great interest the fact that in Balochistan you got about 8 religions, type of religion, which sticks to the freedom of religion. And I'm hopeful that the Roman Catholic religion is listed on those 8 religions that you talked about. One thing that I would particularly wanted to hear from you, with all those great opportunities that you outlined, is how is it to enter Pakistan? What is the visa system is like in Pakistan? I've never heard you saying anything on that. And if I'm not mistaken, and apologies if I'm confusing, if I'm not mistaken, the current Prime Minister of Pakistan is a former cricket player, right? And I heard you say nothing about cricket in Balochistan. Is cricket not part of the attractions in Balochistan? Probably not. And then, of course, I also heard about the ease of doing business in Pakistan. But two things that I would particularly want to know is how long does it take for one to register business in Pakistan? How do you deal with stuff like intellectual property, for example? I would like to hear you say something on that. Are there any areas that are exclusive for Pakistanis, or they're all areas are widely open for foreign investors? But then again, I would probably also see this opportunity to talk about Mozambique, but today the major focus is Balochistan. And I guess one of the major takeaways from this session is to where do we go from now? What's the way forward? I mean, I heard you. I was a bit concerned when you only mentioned the interest of Pakistan in negotiating an FTA with SACO. If you negotiate an FTA with SACO, that will automatically exclude Mozambique. Whereas if you negotiate an FTA with SADC, it will probably include Mozambique as well. And we will also feel included in that regard. And obviously, we would like to discuss all the issues that are related to that, like especially the double taxation, treaty, the bilateral trade agreement. So where do we go from here? How do we seize the opportunities that you outlined, which you very well outlined? How do we organize business missions? I mean, a business mission from Balochistan to this part of the world. I don't want to be biased on to say Mozambique, but I'll say to the southern part of Africa, or vice versa. Are there any trade fairs that we could probably? I know these are trying times. There will be no in-person trade fairs. There will most likely be virtual. But what are they? Are there any trade fairs where you could outline? You could showcase the potential of Balochistan, and we can also have the opportunity to showcase our potential as well. What are the opportunities for our exports as well? And I was delighted to see that the Balochistan is also very, very strong in terms of fishery. If we had to establish a competition, I don't know which fish would be best, whether the Mozambican one or Pakistan, but I'll leave that for some other time. But I see a lot of similarities and I see a lot of potential that we can see. So the question is, what's the way forward? So that this session doesn't end up on us outlining our potential and you outlining our potential, but above all, how do we seize those opportunities for the interest of our own country? Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sergio Carlos Macamo. If you allow me, I would like to answer some of the questions that you raised, because this Trade Commission of Pakistan is representing or is mandated to look after the portfolio of the whole Southern Africa, plus the Mozambique. So for the business delegation, collaboration with the different chambers of commerce, business association, this Trade Commission extends services for all these purposes. With regard to any trade or fair opportunities, this Trade Commission also provides all these information. And about the question for the visa services to from Mozambique to Pakistan, I would request our Mr. Adnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner of Pakistan to South Africa, to answer this question. Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam, and thank you, Mr. Carlos, for this pertinent question. As I mentioned at the outset, that this current government is undertaking a lot of reforms to help and facilitate the business persons. And visa liberalization of the visa regime is one of such reforms. Now, this government has introduced the online visa mechanism for every applicant, and for him or her, the applicant doesn't need to visit High Commission or consulate or any embassy. He just needs to log in web portal of Pakistan online visa, and particularly for the business visa, the applicant can get visa in email PDF form within the 24 hours of her or his application. So this is one such step to facilitate all the businessmen. They don't need to even fill up the form. They just need to log in the online, and it would be a maximum 10 minutes exercise just to put your basic information, and you will receive the visa within 24 hours in your email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I would request Mr. Kaman Zarkoon to answer the question of way forward from here.
If I put it in the simple words, the way forward for investment in Balochistan would be to just get in touch with us, and we'll give you one window facilitation. We'll make sure right from the assisting in the visa, from the visa services through our liaison office in Islamabad, to the registrations, the company opening, to making the business operational, with everything we'll assist. However, I'd like to also comment on a couple of other things that were asked by Sir Sergio Carlos. With intellectual property protection, we have a very good regime in place for the intellectual property. So we have a very dynamic organization that was established almost a decade ago, Intellectual Property Organization of Pakistan, which is being run at the highest level. It falls under the Ministry of Commerce, from where our Madam Humaira also is from there. So, or also for the now coming next to the EOD, ease of doing business, and the starting of business. As I mentioned in my presentation initially, the first reform that under the ease of doing business that was undertaken by the current government was about to ensure about the removal of the entry barriers, and to ensure that the starting of business is being done in the most smooth way. The starting of the business through a company registration, along with all the taxation registration, we have been able to achieve now is 3 days. That is an average. We even have the cases where we have finalized the starting of the business within the same day. So we have improved a lot on that aspect as well. Like I said, with the taxation, also with the integrated border management system. So our taxation regime, our starting business regime, our compliance regime, that is very much invested in the business friendly. Coming next to one of your other points was about the exchange of delegations and trade fairs. Honestly speaking, we initially, before COVID, the plan was to have an exchange of delegation. The first starting with the mining association in the province to the Southern Africa part. But because of the COVID, that got postponed. However, but we have got technology, and we wanted to utilize this opportunity. And this, I think, has become is proven to be very fruitful, with such alleged points being raised by you as well and the others. So this has given us now an idea of how we can make our future upcoming trade visits more productive, more meaningful. We're noting down all these points. And we, under the look of RICA policy, the federal government already started the exchange of the delegations. We had a huge trade fair in 2020, which was held at Nairobi, which covered almost all the African countries. That was the starting point. And we aim to have such fairs and exhibitions in other countries within Africa as well. Hopefully, I've covered the points. If there is anything left, please highlight.
Thank you, Farman Zarkoon, for answering the questions. And on one point that Mr. Sergio Carlos raised was Imran Khan, our Prime Minister Imran Khan, and anything of cricket in the province. It is very interesting, Mr. Sergio Carlos. I would mention this, that Balochistan has boxing very famous in the province, and Balochistan has produced some very good boxers. As far as Imran Khan is concerned, no doubt he was a legend, and he is a cricket legend, but his policy of conducting the administration overall resembles very much with the Ubuntu values of Africa. The Ubuntu value, whoever are listening to us from Pakistan and also Africa, they know it. And from Pakistan, I would like to educate them on that it is about, the community, respect, dignity, compassion, joy, and building and maintaining a community with justice and mutual caring. And this is what the policy of the current government is all about. So we have Ubuntu in place, but without the word of Ubuntu being in there. So Imran Khan, beside cricket, he also carries this Ubuntu philosophy in his style of philosophy in Pakistan. Now we have the last two speakers, Iqbal Mir Sharma, Salim Sher Mohammed from the private sector. If I call them friends of Pakistan in South Africa, that would not be wrong at all. I would now invite Mr. Iqbal Mir Sharma. Iqbal Mir Sharma has over 25 years of diversified experience with the public and private sector in South Africa. In 2011, he founded the ISSR Global, and he previously served as the CEO of Trade and Investment South Africa and was responsible for leading the development and implementation of trade and investment policies and strategies for the Republic of South Africa. He has been a regular speaker at large government conferences across the world like World Economic Forum, Times, CNN Global Forum, UNEP, and World Trade Organization platform. He is a fellow of African Leadership Initiative and Aspen Global Leadership Network of the Aspen Institute. Mr. Iqbal Mir Sharma, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Humaira. Excellency Adnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner, and esteemed other delegates, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a very enlightening presentation, and I've learned much about Balochistan, much more than I learned as a young student in Pakistan. I've been fortunate enough to have studied in Pakistan and lived in South Africa as well. Our company, ISSR Global, is a company that's focused primarily on two areas. We have a global advisory business where we advise governments on trade and investment strategies and economic policy. And we advise corporations on market entry, particularly into Africa. But we are a global company, and we operate in Cyprus, in Mauritius, in Dubai, and in many parts of Africa. The other part of our business is focused on large-scale real estate development. We build smart cities. We are currently building a city in Durban, South Africa, which will be a completely off-grid city, a city built over 30 square kilometers, with no cars within the city. All the mobility will be electric and public. The entire city will be off-grid, and it will be anchored by hospitals, universities, and airport, tourism precincts. And we're building similar projects in African countries like in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, in Gabon, in Nigeria. And we are exploring also in Mozambique, up in the north by Nacala, to build a sustainable city out there. I guess the perspective I will come from is having lived in Pakistan and lived in South Africa, being in the public sector, now in the private sector. I think there's a lot of areas for cooperation, particularly if we talk about just South Africa and Balochistan, what Mr. Farman Zarkoon has mentioned. I think it was very enlightening. And I would be very keen to organize a business delegation of individuals, particularly from the mining sector and the agriculture sector and infrastructure sector, to maybe visit Balochistan. And we're also working with the trade office here to promote tourism, because that's probably one of the best ways for people to do business, is to get to know each other and get to know each other's countries. You know, many people in South Africa are not familiar with Pakistan, and that needs to change. And I think once people visit a country, then they get a much better direct understanding. I think there are some strong technologies in South Africa in the mining sector, which we can bring to Pakistan, and because China is actually the largest trading partner for South Africa. And many South African companies do business and export high value-added products to China. By taking advantage of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, I think there's a big opportunity for companies from South Africa to locate in your SEZs in Balochistan and just shorten the journey and manufacture the products and export straight from Pakistan into China. And similarly on agriculture, I think there's a lot of agriculture activity in Balochistan, but it's primary agriculture. And with some South African technologies, we can do some value adding on the ground and have processing facilities. So instead of exporting your apples, you can export apple juice and you know, get more value in that context. So mining, agriculture, infrastructure, I think those are some key areas. I think it's a very good step, the negotiation of a trade agreement, because historically, you know, countries of the South, and we are, you know, of the South, the proverbial South, we have very poor trade relations between and amongst ourselves. We've always had much better and stronger relations in trading with Europe and America and the more developed economies, but we have a lot of non-tariff barriers and a lot of you know, sort of other obstacles between and amongst ourselves. So I think it's a welcome idea to have the SACU and potentially a SADC trade agreement, which can set the platform for engagement between countries. So any assistance, you know, that we can provide, because as a business person, as a company, we're familiar with both countries. We think there's a lot of opportunity in the post-COVID environment. We have to look at a new paradigm. You know, the economies, the traditional economies and traditional structures are being challenged significantly. And there's a great opportunity right now for South Africa and Pakistan to collaborate. Pakistan has a lot of advantages, has a low cost of production. You know, the exchange rate is a lot more favorable relative to the rand in South Africa. So tourism can be promoted, value-added manufacturing can be promoted. And I think this is a very exciting initiative by the Balochistan Board of Investment and Trade. I'd like to congratulate you on that. And this should be just a first step in many engagements. As I was discussing with the Trade Commissioner here, that Pakistani strategy should be very targeted. You cannot just have a broad, kind of throw a wide net out and try to catch as many fish as you can, so to speak. It should be targeted. And I think with the sectors that you speak of, there's a lot of targeting that can be done with direct companies in South Africa that are looking for new markets and new opportunities. Companies that have traditionally focused on European and American markets solely have realized their folly and have paid the price in diminishing market share and increased competition in those markets. But you know, the markets of Central Asia are largely unexplored. Most Africans and South Africans in particular have very little knowledge or access of the Central Asian markets. But you provide through your China-Pakistan economic corridor direct access into those markets. So as much as South Africa is presented as a gateway to Africa, I think Pakistan and Balochistan in particular is presented as a gateway into Central Asia and into China. And those are significant markets and new markets that we can tackle. We as a company will be very interested in looking at building cities in Balochistan, green cities as we focus on. And we'll also be looking at accessing the avenues into Central Asia through Pakistan. So I think I will leave it there. Thank you very much to the Trade Commission and Balochistan Board of Investment Trade for organizing this. I think it can be very enlightening for people that are looking for new avenues of doing business and not just focusing on the traditional markets of the North. And in the area of South-South cooperation, I think this is a very good step, and I'd like to congratulate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Balmi Sharma. It's always a pleasure and a learning experience to hear from you and to have your company around indeed finding new markets and having a targeted approach, a more sectoral approach in trade is a part of our trade is a philosophy of this Trade Commission as well. Now I would request Mr. Salim Sher Mohammed. Thank you, sir. First of all, thank you for your patience. And Salim Sher Mohammed is the Managing Director and National Brand Development of Africa Private Limited. NBDOA is a multi-brand investment company founded in 2013 by its sole owner and MD, Mr. Salim Sher Mohammed. After spending 18 months in South Africa and studying the behavior of different LSM markets, Mr. Salim Sher Mohammed, beside being a good businessman, is also a philanthrope and is engaged in a lot of philanthropic work around the world. So, Mr. Salim Sher Mohammed, I would request for your comments, remarks, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction, Omara. And good afternoon, lady and gentlemen, and all the listeners. And so this is very exciting. I think I'll do a brief introduction of NBDOA, what it is and where it's coming from. So National Brand Development of Africa is actually basically in sort of an offshoot of NRD Capital. NRD Capital is a private equity which is based out of Atlanta. I've lived there for about 25 years, so I've now lived in South Africa for about 7 years now. And our pedigree is franchising. We have quite significant investment about in 15 countries in franchising, and so fundamentally a private equity which invest in franchising. That's what we do. Now, recently we have an global investment strategy and particularly focused in Pakistan. So we allocated some capital and we are active investors from that point of view, active looking to be investors in Pakistan. We did a lot of activity Q4 last year and earlier this year as well. And as we were getting ready, the COVID happened. So we have put a pause on it. But this presentation is very timely as we are getting ready to relaunch our investment in Pakistan. So this is fantastic for us. And this is a multinational capital which will be going into Pakistan, which helps us rethink some of this approaches what we have been thinking about. So first of all, congratulations to you, Farman. Fantastic presentation, like really detailed. I had a list of questions for you, and looks like you answered every one of those, and you were reading my mind. So basically, which tells me that you have like the institution is ready. You have been around. You have heard a lot of concerns, and now you're ready to do business. Of course, as an investor, what you look for, security. First of all, your personal security, and second, your security of your capital, and very importantly, ease of doing business. So it looks like all three areas you have really addressed it very succinctly. So and I'm not going to take more time on going into detail and asking detailed questions because those conversations can happen offline. But this is absolutely exciting. One of the questions I would ask, and this is something you can answer afterwards, is that what it's been a while I've left Pakistan. Yes, of course, I've rekindled my relationships, and I'm now back going in Pakistan regularly. But there's a lot of traditional leadership uh, in that region, and is traditional leadership on board with those such initiatives? So to ensure that investment or investor do not become victim of a tug of war. So that is a question for you, which can be answered later. And you had identified a lot of low-hanging fruits, which is great. A lot of low-hanging opportunities, which if the presentation is available, we would really like to look at it a little bit in more detail and go through it. Okay. Uh, in terms of trade zone, which you talked about, uh, would it be possible for us to have a trade office in hub duty free zone or hub special zone, which is in very close proximity to Karachi and can be very easily accessible through Karachi airport and also the city, where we can have our corporate office for Pakistan there. And we are going through the process of registering a private equity, and we encountered some of the issues and would like to have that conversation offline, because this is something very important for us in order to properly channel the investment. So what I heard today is very encouraging. It's fast, it's quick, it can happen. There's a protection for our capital, there's protection for us as an investor. And yes, incentives and all that are great, but that comes in later. Very importantly, the protection of the capital and the personal safety security, which you answered very clearly. So I would encourage anyone and everyone who's listening to this is, don't take it in a stride, take it very seriously. uh, as you will find many opportunities for yourself. I did see some small business opportunities, small to mid-sized business opportunities. Most of the opportunities which you discussed were large scale, but in between I did see some of the small and medium-sized opportunities. So what I encourage the participants who are listening to this should consider and explore a little further on this. We being expat have our heart there, so we would like to be back home to do our investment. Yes, we live in America, we Americans, and now you're Africans, but your heart's still there. And if there's an opportunity for us to do more, we would love to do more. So with this great presentation, fantastic and encouraging view and way forward. Uh, and I wish you all the best. And definitely, we have a vested interest in it. So, in addition to being support, definitely we will support whatever we can do. Like, and I agree with Iqbal Sharma that yes, those trade discussions with SEDEC can be helpful, because we are exploring some opportunities of important cotton from Pakistan, and the tariffs are restrictive. So it needs to be on even par, and if that can be worked out, I think that will open up a lot of doors. With this, I want to thank you for making the presentation and inviting me, and really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Salim Shah Mohammed. Thank you so much for your kind words. Definitely, Salim Shah Mohammed is one of those people who loves Pakistan and like to contribute in not only in the economic development but also uplifting the social life, the life of many people in there. Is also engaged in it. Now I would request Mr. No, sorry, before inviting and us requesting Adnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner, for the closing remarks. I would like to mention that since the session is streaming live, There are a lot of questions by the people, and both from Africa and also from Pakistan, but majority of them are praising the initiative, the presentation by Farman Zakood. They're saying that presentation was very good. They were very well informed on a number of initiatives. Few of the questions I will take because it's already late, and we have taken a lot of we have taken the whole day of those who are present with us. When is Mr. Inayat Khan is asking, when is the best time to visit Balochistan as a tourist? Mr. Farman Zakood, if you would like to answer this question.
Thank you. Like I said, we are blessed with every kind of weather. We are blessed with every kind of terrain. We have places that, as a tourist, even for places to visit, we have snowy areas as well. We have beaches as well. So throughout the year, every day is equally good to visit Balochistan. Will be more than happy to even assist them, even if they're coming from abroad. So even though if it's not investment, even if it's just a tourism even that is a good starting point, to see the area around, maybe to see the opportunities, right? We'll be more than happy to.
Okay, the other question is from Mr. Abid Ali. He's asking, those who want to invest or areas closer to the financial hub Karachi, what kind of incentive that Balochistan offers, and what areas they should, like Mr. Salim Shah Muhammad, he talked about having an office in hub, the closest to Karachi. So what are the incentives that the government of Balochistan offers to such investors who want to be close to Karachi, but might invest in Balochistan, provided the incentives are lucrative?
The biggest incentive of is the strategic position that the hub and the Lasbela district face it. It's in the crossroads of the Karachi and the Gwadar. It has an access to the Gwadar. It is connected to the CPEC route. It is in close proximity to the Karachi, and the government of Balochistan. That's the reason that we are focused on developing the industrial state there, which has more than 100 industrial units already there. We are establishing a special economic zone, which has also been established there. We even have the provision for having special economic zones with private coast area as well, with the private port as well. And one or two proposals are already in the pipeline related to, especially in the energy, related to the energy sector, that which can have. So because we have this coastline which most of us is within Balochistan, and the coastline in the Karachi area and all, it's almost already exhausted for different projects or for different purposes. So we have this Virgin Beach there. So there can be SCZs with their own small ports as well. So this is something which is very unique, which is there. And I will also cover what Sir Salim said in his remarks regarding especially the traditional leadership part in this. Balochistan is huge. It's almost half of the Pakistan. It's the perception, of course, when something happened, even the times when the security conditions are not good, it was not the area near to the Karachi, the Lasbela part. It was very clean. It was, even if we Google it, never ever has any single incident happened in the district Lasbela. So and I think that is an area which the people who actually are from here, like Sir Salim or Sir Iqbal, who are from here, they can actually take advantage of this gap which the people who are sitting abroad, otherwise they don't know, because they are, the perception is otherwise, the reality is otherwise. And this difference between the perception and the reality, that is the gap, I think, which can be capitalized upon by the people who know the area. I'll also add one comment on what Sir Iqbal said on the exchange of trade delegation. Sir, will be more than happy. That is part of our policy as an organization, as the provincial government of Balochistan as well, that we will even host you even if you want to come to the Gwadar, or you want to come to the Lasbela, or you want to come to Quetta. That was one of the reasons also for us to be establishing our offices in Gwadar, Karachi, and Islamabad. That you don't have to necessarily come all the way to Quetta to have the meetings or to see the opportunities. We arrange for those the delegations as well. We have requested we'll request the High Commission formally to to start the process. We'll be more than happy to host you here at Gwadar as well as in Lasbela and Quetta as well.
Thank you, Farman. And now, before ending, I would request Honorable Minister Chief Tisele Meseriban for his final comments, and after that, Adnan. Thank you, Mr. Chief Tisele.
Thank you very much for for such a very great opportunity that one has been part of the discussion of today about Pakistan. I think it is very important to talk to the gentleman that says they're putting up a smart city in South Africa. He mentioned that they are putting up, he's going to decide to put up a team to visit Pakistan. Please include us, invite us. We are happy to inform our private sector, even our entrepreneurs in the country. We have young investors. We have young people that are emerging, because this is for future. It's not for now. We're talking about future. So please include us. Send me an invitation of how many and when, so that we can start planning on it. The second issue that again I would like to applaud on it is the issue of Ubuntu to the president of Pakistan. It is very sensational to. So we'd like to get more information on that, so that we were able, because I'm preparing now to put up a formal presentation to the cabinet about this meeting. It is very important to what I've listened. Third one is it is very important that my brother mentioned, the issue of SACU and what is then going forward, because we talk. You mentioned post-COVID-19, a lot of jobs has been lost in my country. We need to find the best way of inviting people that can come and help us, because we've been relying on this the American protocols of AGOA and everything, but now there are no orders, and we need to find support of how best can we revive our economy in Lesotho. So on the platform of inviting investors, my brother from Mozambique, you know, we once gave you beans from Lesotho. Agriculture, I'm very happy about knowing how strong you are in agriculture, very strong. But the issue is organic agriculture, because we believe it's now a turnaround. The whole world is looking for organic agriculture, where you have young scientists that are coming with good innovations. But we don't have incubation centers where we are training them, where we are showing them to the market, to say we've got scientists from Lesotho or Mozambique or from any other country in Africa. But they need somebody that can commit and say, here's an African incubation center. Yes, Gauteng is Gauteng, Central is a gateway, but we need to find a friend. And today I'm saying Pakistan is a friend on innovation. So please, can you try and, I'm going to send an invitation to you, Your Excellency, that I'm hosting Innovation Day, where I'll invite everybody that was here from Mozambique and the 2 private sector members to be available on that day, on my Innovation Day. So thank you very much for being part of this discussion. And I hope that it does not end here. I've got a smart city concept. I would like you to invite me to come to Durban to see the smart city concept, where I can maybe come with my engineers from Lesotho and everybody to say it is just around the corner. It's not in China. It is in Durban. So we want to have a smart city in Lesotho, because we don't want to be left. You can't be left alone when around the corner there's smart city, and Lesotho there is no smart city. So thank you very much. Have a great evening, everybody. Inshallah.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Chief Tesele Mesirban, for your comments and showing deep interest in furthering collaboration in different sectors with Pakistan, and inviting Mr. Farman Zarkoon. And also, I'm really happy to see how the session is also helpful for the participants as well. Now, I would like to invite His Excellency Adnan Javed, Acting High Commissioner, for his closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. And thank you very much, participants, particularly Mr. Zarakun, for giving us very insightful presentation and details about Balochistan's government's initiative to facilitate the investors. And particularly, I would extend my gratitude to the Excellency Chief Thesele for sparing time from his quite busy schedule. It is quite heartening to note your initiative that you promised to put the formal presentation to your cabinet about today's session. These are the tools and mechanism through which we can bridge and bring the government to government and business to business people closer. And High Commission would continue to strive bring the Pakistan and Lesotho relationship to the maximum level. And we will also strive to bridge the gap between Pakistan and Mozambique and enhance the trade between two countries. I would also appreciate the participant from the private sector, Mr. Sharma and Mr. Salim as well. And today's closing session, I must appreciate the effort of our Trade Commission, Ms. Omera, who was a linchpin to bring all these participants on one platform. And I also appreciate those people who joined us online from various parts of the globe. In the closing remarks, I would just say, in the words of Mr. Jack Maas, who is the founder and chief executive of Alibaba Group, he stated about Pakistan that with its unique geostrategic location, vast human resources, and a huge untapped growth potential, Pakistan provides attractive incentive and liberal policies for investment in all sectors of economy for foreign and local investors. So let's pledge that we would continue this session maybe after a couple of weeks or a month, just to have a follow-up, and we would continue to share our experience with all the private sectors, and government of Pakistan is already available for all sort of queries to respond and initiate a business. Thank you very much, participant. Once again, I appreciate all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan, for your closing remarks. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Salim Shah Muhammad, Iqbal Sharma, Sasagio, Farman Zarkun for your presentation, and Adnan Javed, your Excellency, Acting High Commissioner. Thank you, everyone. I would just close with a statement of my Prime Minister, Imran Khan. Now is the time to invest in Pakistan. Don't miss the boat. Thank you, everyone.